Ignition liftoff. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have liftoff.
This week we're bringing you something new that we're calling Lift Off With. Now, in honour of National Small Business Week, I'm bringing you some of the best kept secrets who are perhaps earlier on in their journeys or really on their way to lift off. We're bringing you a new episode every single day to shine a spotlight on these incredible women that you might not have yet heard of. Right, so let's lift off with. Today we're joined by Eni Awoyemi, founder of Feyi Flowers. Now, after facing redundancy just months after maternity leave, Eni turned a challenge into an opportunity, building a thriving floral brand from the ground up. From navigating business challenges to building a thriving brand, Eni has truly carved her own path. And in doing so, she's encouraging a new generation of aspiring entrepreneurs. So let's find out why she's a lady who launched. Right, before we get into it, if you like this episode, which I know you're going to, please don't forget to like and subscribe and to share it to your group chat. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know I'm a fan. You know I'm a fan, and I'm so excited that we get to sit down and chat. You come to our lunch,
Yes.
which was such a lovely day.
Incredible.
But there were so many amazing women. It was so good to hear everybody's stories, and it sort of ended up a bit of a therapy session. I mean, that's what happens when you get a bunch of ladies together, right? It was like a therapy session meets kind of group bonding experience. I loved it. It was the best time ever. But I wasn't sat near you, so I didn't get to
What?
ask.
I was like, I can't believe I have this chair. I was like 3 seats
No,
away
but I
from
mean,
you.
I wasn't next to you, so I didn't get to like sort of pick.
Yeah, but you had a
pick your
lot of people there.
So I'm so excited that we get to do this. I think the best place to start is, who is Eni?
Yeah,
And what is Feyi Flowers?
absolutely. So I'm Eni. I am a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. And Feyi Flowers is a brand that I've created specifically for the modern woman. So we create bouquets that are wrapped in unique prints. And our focus is all around self-care and just really encouraging women to buy themselves their flowers.
There's this simplicity that is just genius. I'm like, of course, like, we know a good bunch of flowers, right? And we know a bad bunch when we see one. Why are we not buying them for ourselves? Why do we wait for an occasion or, I don't know, a man or... And they say that if when men buy flowers, it means they've done something
Wrong.
don't they?
Yeah.
Yes. Like, why do we wait for an occasion? Why don't we just treat ourselves to a good bunch of flowers a little more?
Exactly. I think it's like we just don't feel like we deserve them, which is strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we try to do. And our community of girlies, they understand that and they want to just put a little bit more into themselves. And I think that's so important. Like, it's nice when you receive flowers from your man or like an occasion, but I think it's even better when you receive it for yourself and you've actually bought it for yourself. It just feels better.
The bunch that you actually want.
Yeah, exactly.
That
looks good on your kitchen table, like your style.
Your aesthetic. And they are so gorgeous and they are so distinctly Feyi Flowers. When you see a bunch, I know they're from you, or at least they should be. And we'll get into the kind of, I'm going to call it inspiration. I'm going to call it flattery, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Take us back, first of all, before Feyi Flowers. I've heard you speak, I've watched clips of you talking on other shows, and I've heard that you say that you've always been a bit of a hustler, right? From a young age. Tell us what that means to you.
Oh, so I've never had like one job. I've always had like 2 jobs. Whether I'm full time, I always had something else going on. Yes. So that driving me, I guess maybe it comes from like my parents. So my parents were immigrants. They came to the UK when I was about 9, and they've always worked so many jobs. And I think for me, I just always had that drive in me that I had to be working like 2 or 3 jobs at the same time to like do the best that I could. So that's where I think that's always come from, and I've always wanted to work for myself.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I definitely can emulate that with my mum. Like she was working in Boots, and she was a hairdresser, and she would do, and there was kind of always everything. So it wasn't really an option not to. I didn't think working isn't important. It was always seen as a priority. Yeah. And I think when you're a mum, there's that moment that, for me, that dialed up a notch. And we'd talk about the idea of mum guilt, and you're trying to make everything happen. And we spoke before we recorded about, the nursery drop and everything else in between. But actually, for me, I've always sort of appreciated my mum's work ethic and learned a lot from that. And I hope that my children do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's my mum's drive, and like seeing her do so much, for me, it's like I have to have 2 or 3 jobs. For me, it's like it's the norm, right?
Yes,
because I've seen that growing up. So it doesn't feel like I'm doing too much. It just feels like I should have 2 or 3 different hustles.
I'm just working.
As I go along, I'm just working. And like, I want my daughter to also see that. Like the brand is named after her. So like everything I do, I want her to feel like really, really proud of it.
Yeah. Well, and oh my goodness me, if she doesn't realise yet, she really will. And having her name as, does it give you, because we all call our business our babies, right?
Yeah.
It's like your second child, or for me, my 4th child. Does it take a new meaning when your business is named after your baby girl?
Absolutely. So her name, it's like a Nigerian name, and it's like a Yoruba name. So it means my joy. Can I like take this as my joy? And that's how we want everyone to feel when they receive the bouquet, like have that feeling of joy. And we get that from our customers. It feels so good. And like when I hear people say Feyi and they're like pronouncing it right, even if they pronounce it wrong, I'm like, I just love that. Like everybody knows her name. Like I love it.
Yes, exactly. And you've already done the bit for her. Like my daughter is called Alaya for her whole sort of 12 years. Everybody is calling her Alaya, and they never quite get the name right, but you've done the work for her.
Yeah, I'm like, now everyone knows how to pronounce it.
Exactly that. I want to talk about going from the idea of having lots of different jobs to knowing that you want to launch a business, because it's a risky thing to do. It's a brave thing to do. It's very bold to go, okay, I'm going to actually take a punt on myself here, and I'm going to rip that Band-Aid off, and I'm going to do this for me because I've got this idea and I know it can be something and I feel passionate about it. How did that transition look to you?
So prior to Feyi, I had another business, which I'll call it probably a side hustle, because I was always in corporate, but I had another business just before that for 4 years. So I was always doing that. And I knew that I wanted to work for myself, but I just couldn't really take that plunge. And I would say it was when I became a mom. Like being a mom just instilled something in me that it's just undescribable. I felt like if I don't do this now, when am I going to do it? So
do you feel like it gives you like, because I couldn't agree more. And it was the same with me with my little Coco. And obviously my reason was my frustration with the baby market.
Yeah.
However, it gives you this set of balls. Doesn't it? And you're like, off we go.
I think it's like,
I'm a mum now. I don't know. It gives you that like, come on.
After having a baby, you feel like you can do anything, right? That was how I felt. And this time last year, I was actually made redundant from my corporate job. So I felt like I could go into another corporate job, or I could take a risk for myself. And I was like, this is the only time I can actually do it. I've got a bit of cash now from like redundancy. I can put it all into my business, go all in, or I can save it and, be a little bit safe. I've got my daughter, have some savings, and then like work a corporate job. But I thought, actually, I'm going to be a little bit crazy and just put it all into my business. And that's what I did. And yeah, I'm really glad I did that.
I bet you are. Did it feel quite now or never
at
that point?
It did, yeah. I felt like if I don't do this now, like I just turned 30. I just felt like, when am I going to do this? I'd rather fail now than have that regret later.
Yes, yeah. They say like fail fast, don't they?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to do it, fail fast, get on with it, and you're on to the next thing. Let's talk about brand identity, because it is, as I said before, it is so clear, and I could recognize a bunch of Feyi Flowers anywhere. Was that something that you stumbled across quite quickly? Did you know how to, because a bunch of flowers is gorgeous, right? And you can pick a gorgeous bunch of flowers, but having brand identity when it comes to a bunch of flowers is actually quite a difficult thing to do, because you're not reinventing the wheel here, right?
Yeah.
You can be great at floristry, but how do you set yourself apart from other brands?
Yeah, and that's how I felt. So I was really frustrated with the floral industry as a whole. I love flowers, right? So I always like arrange flowers myself. I'd buy flowers from the supermarket, but I'd get like different bunches that I can put together that I felt like it really fit with my style, like my kitchen table.
Right.
But then when I ordered online, I didn't really like the bunches that I received, and I thought, the packaging just wasn't great. You know, the experience for me just wasn't there as a woman, and it just didn't feel shareable. So I wanted to make a change to that. I also took some inspiration from like the way flowers were wrapped in the 80s. Like it was always with newsprint, but I wanted to like modernize that a little bit, which is what we've been able to do with Feyi.
It's so brilliant. And you're right. When you receiving a bunch of flowers, it is an experience. Like that is such a key word, isn't it? And you want to feel that, whether you're gifting someone and they can say, oh, I've received the most gorgeous bunch of flowers from you today. And you want that. It is the experience of it. You want to feel special. You want to make someone else feel special.
Yeah.
It needs to be
and that personal touch as well, which I think was really missing within the floral industry. There isn't really a brand identity there. Yes. And I always say to my girls, I'm like, we're not a floral brand. We're actually a fashion brand. We're a beauty brand. So like I instill that in them when they're like making a bouquet, because you think when you're receiving like, you know, a nice dress, like that feeling you get when you order something, that's how I want people to feel when they get a Feyi bouquet.
I love that. It's kind of completely flipping it on its head.
Yeah.
The problem we have is when you have a very clear identity and people are picking up on that clear identity and they're like, yes, I love this. This is my new florist. This is how I'm going to shop. You get the big brands that want to do a little bit of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what I think was very clear with you is you have built up a community, not just a customer. You have really built an online community in quite a short space of time.
Yeah.
And there were said brands that were using you as quite heavy inspiration. And boy, did social media know about it. What was that first moment like when you thought, okay, this is a competitor. We're very new here. I've done something. I've worked for this. And there are people emulating what we do.
It was insane. I think for me, I felt really defeated. Like when I started seeing, you know, a little bit of inspiration here and there. For me, all I could do was share it with our audience. I think when you build up a community, and we were really small, like I think I had like 2,000 people before I shared.
2,000 very engaged
people, yeah. And I just shared what was going on because that's what we've always done. And, you know, our community basically rallied behind us and got the story out there, which I think is super important.
Mm-hmm, absolutely that. And was it something that because when things are happening, sometimes do you share it straight? Like sometimes it builds before you think, right, I'm going to share this because this has really kind of bothered me now. Or was you kind of in real time sharing it in the moment?
I sat on it for a little while. I did a bit of investigating.
Because it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Little Colleen Rooney.
Honestly, like I am a little investigator. My exes won't like me for that, but I'm like, it's actually paid off for me right now.
We've all got one good investigator in the group chat, haven't we? We all do. There you go. That's your role.
But yeah, I sat on it and, you know, I wanted to do my research to just make sure, like, you know, everything that I'm looking at is correct. And I was really nervous about sharing. And I just thought, there's nothing else I can do but share my story.
And that's where I first heard about you, because so many people I follow were sharing that story and were like, this is not okay. This is our girl. We're shopping here from now. We even saw Stormzy front and center of that. And
he's amazing.
He has been a real big champion of yours, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he bought 100 bouquets. He added to the workload, but
in solidarity, but yeah.
But it was great. Yeah, definitely like one of the people that got behind us, Leanne Pinnock as well. Like she got behind us and posted. So it's been amazing to see the support, and I never expected that at all when I posted that video.
It's a story that touched everyone. So I think it's a story that everyone can resonate on any level. Everyone's had a situation where they think they're the first at doing something, or they feel that they've really been, you know, put their heart and soul in something, and someone's taken a little bit of that for themselves. So I think it got everyone's back up, didn't it? It did. It really did. But I think the best thing about those situations is when somebody is looking at you so intensely, they can only take from what already exists. They don't know what's up here. And I spoke to Jo Malone about this, and she was really, really, and she says that your kind of currency is what's in your brain, and people can't access that bank account. So that's something that only
they can only mimic what they see, step by
you
step.
are already ahead. You've done that.
Exactly.
Right? And you're kind of thinking of the next thing, because as an entrepreneur and as a founder, that's how you work.
Yeah.
So I think it's taking it as flattery, but it's, to me, creative laziness too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and authenticity will always win.
Correct.
So
exactly
we just
that.
hope that our audience see what we do and like love what we do, and really
And
stick with us.
And exactly that. And like I said, you have more than an audience. You have a really, even before everybody was like giving you that boost, you know, having 2,000 engaged people it means the world, and that's how everyone found out about it. So authenticity always wins, girl. I can imagine navigating at the time, though. It's always easy to talk about it through the lens of success, isn't it? The lens of like, it's amazing now because this has happened since. And weirdly, when you look back, it actually probably was one of the best things to happen because it gave you that boost. But at the time, the feeling is not
the best.
It's not the best at all. What I want to touch on what is next for Feyi Flowers, because since we heard your name, there has been a boom, girl, and a boom that we are all here for. But what's next? What does that look like for you?
So we are continuing to scale. That's really important to us. Like, we want to be everywhere. We want to be in your online retailers. Yes. We want to be doing the different pop-ups and that you're going to see more of us. Collaborations are really important to us, which is why I always say like we're like a fashion and beauty brands, because you see in the next few weeks the brands that we're partnering with and the content that we're creating. It just is going to resonate with our audience more than ever. And we are also releasing personalized wrap, which we haven't done yet. We've hinted it a little bit. It's called Feyi and You. And it's basically allowing our community to be able to personalize our current products, which we've never done before. We've done it with like a few brands, but we're releasing that collection, which I think is going to be incredible.
Yes.
And we're also going into like weddings and bridal as well.
Oh, incredible.
So
I mean, it makes perfect
it's been a big ask for us.
Yes.
And I think people are really going to love it. Yeah.
So how does that look then? Because scaling very early on is kind of no mean feat. How big is the team now, and how big does it need to get to scaling the way you need?
Yeah, so we've got 13 people in the team, and I think you'd say it's that big, but it's mainly that big because we're a floral company, so you need more hands.
We do
exactly, we do everything. So I think about 10 florists, and then the rest are like core team in terms of like admin and marketing. Yes. But if we want to be doing like, you know, 1,000 or 500 bouquets a day, which is the dream, like we'd have to like triple that size.
And wedding season.
And wedding season's coming up really soon. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to do all of that logistically.
Yeah, it's so exciting though. Do you feel excited?
Excited, but like nervous. It's such a scary journey, but like, I'm really excited to like conquer all of that and like learn new things as I go along.
And grow. And I think that is, you know, there's a quote that says, I'm not just the founder of the business. In founding the business, I found myself. And I think there's so much to learn about yourself along the way. And I suppose already you've taught yourself a lot of resilience and how you handle situations that you've had to deal with quite early on, that actually you evolve, don't you, throughout the process. I'm sure you already have already. And you must feel that.
I've learned so much about myself. And like you said, I am really resilient, which I knew I was before. But when all of this happened, there's a lot that I've had to do and navigate that I just never expected. So it's been a really great learning curve for me.
And it's going to continue to be. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I mean, it's also the kind of like of it too. That you realise, and everything becomes a new kind of ceiling, and I suppose a new, like a marker of like, okay, it's stressful, but it's not that, and we got through that, so we'll get through this. And that's kind of how it moves. And then you'll be chatting to me in 2 years' time with, well, I've got a team of 700.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine.
That would be amazing.
I want to do something new now, and this is the first time we're doing this, which I'm excited about.
Amazing.
And we're calling it Set the Table. Now, I'm not sure if you listened to our first episode of Launchbox with Dior. And we love Dior, life coach.
She's
Dior.
amazing.
And she speaks about designing your future self. And it's something that I do with her regularly. And it's, well, it could be something close, something so far ahead. Like there might be something big I have coming up next week, and we sort of design my future self and how I want to feel on that day, or in 5 years' time, what does the future me look like? And I'm so interested to know how you would plan to set the table for the Eni of tomorrow or of next year or in 6 months' time. How does your future self look?
Yeah, so for me, like imposter syndrome has been quite a big deal to me, and just not really having that confidence. So my future self, I want to be able to walk into a room and like not have imposter syndrome, have that confidence, and like be ready for this next stage of the business. I think when we like scaled and, you know, we got all those orders like really, really quickly, I just wasn't ready. And obviously that's the dream for any small business owner, that your business just goes viral and it just, you know, you get all of these orders, but you're not always ready. So I want to be ready for that next stage as the business grows and progresses, and just really have that confidence.
And however that looks. And I think it's kind of like you say, imposter syndrome is a funny little beast, because when everyone else can see it and you maybe can't, and everyone thinks you're ready and feels that you are, but you are because you're doing it, but you don't feel it. You kind of want that to match.
Yeah, you need that balance.
The kind of reality to the like internal.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Okay. So when we speak again, you'll be like straight in here, bussing your way in.
I'll be there.
That's it. That's the energy we want from you. And as you know, every episode I ask our guests how they spend their lunch hour to finish. And your job is really hands-on, right? That's the way it is, kind of getting everything turned out and orders done. Do you make time for lunch?
This is so bad.
No, it's honest.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I think by the time like we're getting through the day, I'm like, oh, it's dinner time now.
I've not eaten yet.
You know? But I think what I want to do is put more of a routine in place. And as my team is growing, I'm getting to a space that I can actually just leave them to it and actually get lunch. Like this week, I haven't been in the studio, which is like great. And I was able to have lunch. But when I'm in there, it's not so easy. So having the right people to help and support you, you can actually like have a bit more of a self-care routine, which is what I'm trying to implement more.
And do you find, has it been a hard thing? Because something that I find really tricky, and I found it very tricky years ago, but even still I have to get better at it, to kind of hand over the reins a little bit and take your foot off slightly, because now your job now involves lots of other layers, right? You're here, you're interviewing, it's not just in the studio doing the kind of day-to-day. So have you found it hard to take away a little, or give away a little bit of the control?
Absolutely. I think obviously we've just grown massively within the last 3 months. So if you think about it, most people that are coming into business, I know them for 3 months, which is really like new. So it is really hard, and I don't want to be a micromanager. No. But I found myself that unfortunately I kind of am at the moment, because the business is so important to me. I'm so passionate about it, and I want to make sure that everything goes really well. But I'm glad we've got some amazing people that I can trust, that I can like maybe take a day off and I can feel like things are going to go well, which is really nice to have.
And your team is everything, isn't it? Your team is everything. So when you find the right people, that's when you
don't want to let
really
them go.
Shine. Exactly that. Please don't leave me forever.
Literally.
Well, thank you so much. I've loved it. I've loved catching up with you properly and finding out all about you. And I'm very, very grateful for my beautiful bunch of flowers that you brought me.
I'm so glad you
They are also, this is the first record in this studio. How did you know the colour scheme? I've got a branded wrap and I'm so excited about it.
We have eyes everywhere.
I'm starting to feel like that way, girl. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to catch up with you we should do it again. Yeah. In like 6 months' time or a year's time.
I love that.
Find out about the future you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Don't forget to follow us on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you don't miss out, because next time we're going to be talking to another incredible lady who launched. If like me, you're a watcher, follow us on YouTube, and don't forget to like and subscribe.